So you're buying your first new car. Congratulations, that's truly exciting. But you've likely stopped here because you have some questions about the whole car buying process and maybe some concerns about how to handle the dealership experience. We get it. Entering a dealership and ensuring you make the right financial decisions for your situation can be nerve-wracking and overwhelming at times. Well, you and I are going to take care of that today. By the end of this video, the stress is going to leave you entirely, and you're going to march into that dealership knowing exactly what to do. Now, we have some ground to cover here, so go grab a coffee, a tea, or whatever beverage you prefer. A cookie or two doesn't hurt either. Hit it, Ralphie. Today, you and I are going to touch on each point of your car buying journey, starting with selecting the right vehicle. Hold on, don't skip ahead just yet. This may actually surprise you. As we're sitting here together, you most certainly have a few vehicles in mind that you're leaning towards purchasing, or maybe you're already locked in on your target. But let's take a quick step back. Before worrying about pricing, salespeople, and such, I want you to do a simple 5-minute check. It's called a needs assessment. It's the first thing that a good salesperson should do when you first step into the dealership, but it's a critical step to ensure that you don't get fed up with your new car later on. I want you to take out a sheet of paper. Don't do this on your phone. This is an analog, tactile experience. I need you to answer the following quick questions, and you can hit pause while you jot down your notes. Ready? First, who's going to use this vehicle besides you, if anyone, and how many passengers will you regularly or occasionally need to transport? 2. How far will this vehicle need to be driven on a regular basis? Is it for short trips in the city, longer commutes on the highway? How long is your daily commute to work, and how often do you plan to take this vehicle on road trips? 3. What will you need to carry in this vehicle? Do you regularly carry sports equipment, a child stroller, or luggage? And how often do you need to carry larger cargo, like bringing home a piece of furniture from IKEA? 4. What type of road conditions and weather will this vehicle need to handle? Do you get a lot of snow where you live? And are there any gravel roads? Will you really need all-wheel drive, or will winter tires alone do the job? 5. Do you need to tow or haul anything? Perhaps a little camping trailer or a small fishing boat? If so, you need to know the total weight and the tongue weight for that trailer. 6. How long do you expect to keep this vehicle? Are you buying a car that will need to get you through the next 2 years or the next 6 years? 7. Which vehicle features matter the most to you? Are there particular safety or infotainment features that you want? Does it need to have wireless CarPlay or Android Auto? And can you do without heated seats, remote start, or a moonroof? And lastly, number 8. And this is an all-encompassing question. What do you need this vehicle to do comfortably for 95% of the time that you're driving it? Now, review your answers and let us know in the comments if the vehicle you originally had top of mind actually answers all of your needs. With our needs assessment out of the way, let's talk budget. How much money have you budgeted per month for this vehicle? I say monthly because that's how we pay bills, but that's not how you want to think about your vehicle purchase when you arrive at the dealership. We have a whole video about how you do not want to buy a vehicle based on the affordability of a monthly payment. We'll link it in the description. However, on a monthly basis, what kind of budget do you have for the following? First, of course, the vehicle payment. Fuel, either gasoline or electric charging. Insurance payments. Regular maintenance and winter tires if need be. And even parking at home and at work. Many buyers go into a dealership with a monthly payment amount in mind, and they have not thought through all the extra costs that will impact the selection of the right vehicle for their budget. Now, the amount of money that each of us will spend on a car payment will vary with our income, but there's a simple rule of thumb to keep in mind. First, what is your monthly take-home pay? That's after taxes and deposited in your bank account. As a general guideline, you want to try and keep your monthly car payment in and around 10 to 15% of your monthly take-home pay. So for example, if your monthly take-home income is $3,500, you want to try and keep your payment somewhere between $350 and $525. If you're bringing home $7,000 a month, you should be okay with a car payment between $700 and $1,000 per month. But like I said, this is just a general guideline to make sure that your car payment does not become a burden later on. Your own costs for rent, groceries, and other necessities will of course factor into your individual calculation. Now let's talk financing. If you're purchasing a brand new vehicle, then depending on the vehicle you're choosing, the manufacturer may be offering a better interest rate than your bank. And while it doesn't happen as often these days, manufacturers will occasionally offer promotional rates as low as 0%. However, if the car you want has an advertised interest rate above 6 or 7%, which is easily the case for used vehicles, or if you're working on repairing your credit, it may be in your best interests to first seek a loan pre-approval from your bank. You see, when you go into the dealership with any type of credit challenge, they're going to do their best to get you approved, but you're going to get whatever rate they can get approved from the lender, plus their own dealer reserve. A dealer reserve is a percentage of interest that you're paying that the dealer gets to keep, which can sometimes be a markup of around 2%. Plus, by getting a pre-approval from your bank, you've now done yourself a favor by setting a hard ceiling on the total amount that you can pay for your car. This is especially relevant when purchasing a used car. Now again, for new vehicles, just watch the manufacturer's advertised interest rates from month to month, which are regularly updated in the build and price tools on their website. Vehicle insurance. This is not a clear-cut subject because insurance requirements vary by province or state, so you want to be sure to check the requirements in your home area. For our purposes, the single biggest takeaway is that you always want to call your insurance company before heading to the dealership to find out what your premium would look like for the vehicle you're considering purchasing. You may find out that your vehicle of interest is in a high theft category. Here in the province of Ontario, insurance companies will add a high-risk premium, say $500, to your annual insurance cost. Many providers then give you the option to have a pre-approved security or tracking system installed on the vehicle to remove that recurring annual cost for potential theft. You also want to be careful with the insurance deductible that you choose. A higher deductible may lower your insurance premium overall, but in the instance that you need to use that insurance, will you be able to afford the amount of that deductible in one hit? Another question to ask is whether your coverage will include new vehicle replacement cost. You see, that car you're buying starts depreciating the moment you drive it off the lot. If, heaven forbid, the vehicle were to be written off at some point, you need to make sure that you can pay off the potential difference between what the vehicle is worth in the market at the time of the incident and the amount that you actually owe on your loan. New vehicle replacement coverage can assist with covering that gap. And here's a pro tip. If you have new vehicle replacement coverage with your insurance company, it's another reason to skip the gap insurance coverage that the dealership's finance manager may offer you. Again, it's impossible for this discussion about insurance to be comprehensive for everyone, but you can rest assured that you've done your due diligence by simply calling your insurance company and asking these simple questions before heading to the dealership. Okay, now we're having some fun. You're going on your test drive, or better yet, multiple test drives. I say multiple because we suggest that you book at least 2 test drives on a single day. Choose a day where your schedule is open and space those dealership visits throughout the day. This gives you a few advantages. First, you'll get to drive the vehicles that you're interested in back to back, allowing you to compare the features that matter most to you. Oh, and try to bring a spouse, a partner, or a friend so they can jot down the positives and negatives of each vehicle as you describe them during your test drive. If no one is available to come along, just hit the video record button on your phone and put it in the cup holder. This way you can record your comments about the car as you're driving, and you don't have to rely on your memory later on. Secondly, by booking multiple test drives on a single day, you can tell each salesperson ahead of your appointment that it's your test drive day, and you have a hard stop, say 60 minutes, to test drive the vehicle and have them appraise your trade-in if you have one. This puts the salesperson on the clock, because you're going to tell them in advance that you need to leave with their best offer for a total price on the vehicle, the monthly payment breakdown, the potential interest rate, and any add-ons that they're suggesting. Here's the beauty in this. You're not even going to attempt to haggle. This is your fun day. Just go in for your test drives and get your numbers. And don't feel pressured to extend your 60-minute deadline. If the salesperson is taking too long, tell them they're going to have to email you the details. Now, even if you aren't comparing vehicles, I would highly suggest that, as a rule, you separate your test drive day from your purchase day. Figuring out your best purchase option becomes much easier and clearer after 24 hours. Of course, a salesperson may push you to finalize a deal on the spot, But if you've already politely set the ground rules in advance, your salesperson should know that you're just a smart shopper. Too often people try to buy a car like it's a toaster oven. Just figure out what looks best and live with it. In the case of a vehicle purchase, the need to knock it all out in one day can be incredibly expensive in the long run. Now, what are you looking and listening for on your actual test drive? Driving dynamics. Is the vehicle easy to steer? Does the suspension soak up the road imperfections well enough? Does it accelerate quickly enough to merge onto highways and pass other vehicles? And don't be afraid to ask to drive the vehicle beyond their typical test drive route. Visibility. From the driver's seat, can you see around you clearly in all directions? Are there any big blind spots caused by the A pillars in front of you or the B pillars beside your shoulders? And be sure to test the backup camera. Is the image clear? Does it provide active lines to show you where you're headed when reversing? Sounds. Are you hearing any bumping, creaking, excessive engine noise, interior rattles, or vibrations? If you do, say it out loud during the test drive so your wingman or your phone can record it, and so the salesperson knows that you have a potential issue. Ergonomics. How does the seat feel? Is your driving position comfortable? Are the steering wheel and pedals in easy reach? And are all the controls located conveniently? Remember, you're going to be living with this thing every day. A slight nuisance during your test drive could be hell when you're repeating the same action each time you get in the car. If this is a pre-owned vehicle, be sure to check for any warning lights on the instrument cluster, any odd smells or vibrations, any hesitation or hard shifting from the transmission, and any pulling or shaking from the steering wheel. If anything feels wrong, it is wrong, regardless of how anyone attempts to explain it away. And here's our second Carzuka pro tip. Don't test drive a vehicle hoping to fall in love with it. Instead, test drive a vehicle with the purpose of discovering everything wrong with it. New or used. If your gripes are minimal when you're done, you may have found your winner. Now, if you currently own a vehicle, there's a good chance that you'll be trading it in towards your next purchase. And when it comes to trade-ins, there's one rule that can save you a lot of confusion. Treat the price negotiation for your new vehicle and the value of your trade-in as two separate steps. The reason is simple. If you negotiate both numbers at the same time, it becomes very difficult to understand where money is being added and where money is being removed. A dealer may offer you an inflated amount for your trade-in, while at the same time increasing the selling price of the vehicle. On the flip side, they may show you a discount on the price of the new car, while trying to lowball you on your trade. By negotiating each transaction separately, you gain a much clearer understanding of the true numbers involved. And again, don't allow them to mush it all together and present it to you as a monthly payment. That's a trick. Still with your trade-in, it's in your best interest to get a quick online appraisal of your current vehicle from multiple sources before visiting the dealership so you have a reasonable expectation of what your vehicle may be worth. Check AutoTrader, CarGurus, Clutch, and the dealership's trade-in tool on their website. Okay, so with your test drives now complete, you now know which vehicle ticks all the boxes for your needs. And because you didn't get looped into making a quick purchase on the same day, you've now taken the time to understand what the vehicle's total cost will be. Now it's time for negotiations, but you're not going back to the dealership just yet. First, some quick questions. Is the dealer marking up the car? Check the manufacturer's website and compare the total price offered by the dealership to the manufacturer's suggested retail price. Has the dealer included any add-on products like winter mats, wheel locks, or in some cases even an extended warranty? How much are they charging you in administration fees, freight, and for a pre-delivery inspection? If there's any confusion, ask your questions via email so you get a recorded response. And if you're looking for a better discount, put that request in an email as well. Do you see what we're doing here? We're not going to go into the dealership and play the waiting game while the salesperson and the sales manager go back and forth on your requests. That nonsense is out of the 1950s, and it's designed to tire you out. You're only going back to the dealership to complete your paperwork and see if there are any products like an extended warranty that you may want to add to your purchase. And here's pro tip number 3. Now that you have all your numbers, send an email to 3 or 4 different dealers and ask them if they can do better than that first offer you received. Send them the suggested monthly payment, the interest rate, the finance or lease terms, any dealer add-ons, and the total cost of the vehicle with all that included. You don't need to tell them which dealership gave you the numbers, just ask them whether or not they can do better. And remember, you're not just asking them for a monthly payment. You want to know the total cost of the vehicle from each dealer you contact. Is this sounding like a lot of work? No problem. To make this step easier, we've already created a free email template that you can copy, fill in your details, and send it to several competing dealers. Just head to the negotiations page at carzuka.ca and click the download button. Oh, and any dealers who reply with, "Just come in and we'll discuss it," they're from the 1950s. Coming from someone who has been marketing for automotive dealership groups for a decade, I promise you that a modern dealership will have no problem communicating with you in a manner that you prefer. Now let's pause here for a second and give yourself a pat on the back. By following the steps we've laid out so far, you've avoided being pressured at the dealership, you've avoided making an uninformed decision about the vehicle's price, and you've armed yourself with the knowledge of just how much that car is generally going for in the market, whether it's generally discounted or marked up. And you've done most of the work from the comfort of your couch or kitchen table. That is a baller move. Okay, we need to jump in here quickly to define what we mean by financing versus leasing versus paying cash for a new vehicle. Financing means borrowing money to purchase the vehicle over a set period of time, usually for a term of 36 months all the way up to 84 months. Once the loan is fully paid off, you own the vehicle outright. Financing is often the best option for buyers who plan to keep their vehicle for many years or who drive higher than average kilometers annually. Leasing, on the other hand, is essentially a long-term rental agreement. Instead of paying for the full value of the vehicle, you are paying for the portion used during the lease term, typically 24 to 60 months. Lease payments are usually lower than finance payments because you are not purchasing the entire vehicle. Leasing often makes sense for drivers who like having a newer vehicle every few years or who drive predictable distances and want a lower payment. And finally, a cash purchase. That means you have the money available to purchase the vehicle outright without monthly payments or finance charges. This option can save thousands of dollars in interest and provides immediate ownership. The dealership salespeople are not fans of this because they lose their portion of the interest that you would otherwise be paying. Now, what do we do about dealership add-ons that are included in the price of the vehicle? These can include items like winter floor mats, wheel locks, or these days dealers will even demand that you purchase an extended warranty and rust proofing if you're buying a vehicle that's in high demand. Know this is all nonsense that you can cut through pretty quickly. If, like us, you're in the province of Ontario and the vehicle you're purchasing is advertised on the dealership's website, that advertised price has to include all charges related to the sale of the vehicle. This includes freight, PDI, administration, and any add-ons. Basically everything except taxes and license plates. If you see a dealer advertising a car that simply says, "Call for pricing," that's a huge red flag. It means they do not want to get locked into a price before you walk in the door, and they would rather see how far they can push you when you arrive at the dealership without fear of accountability. You see, the Motor Vehicle Dealers Act, or MVDA, is the law that governs all motor vehicle sales here in Ontario. And it does not allow a dealer to tie your purchase of a car to any mandatory add-on products. If a salesperson or sales manager insists that you take added products with your car purchase that were not advertised on their website, you want to politely ask them if that requirement aligns with OMVIC regulations. OMVIC, or the Ontario Motor Vehicle Industry Council, regulates the sale of all motor vehicles in this province. And when you hit the dealer with that question, they may be more inclined to drop the add-ons. If you're denied the purchase of a vehicle because you won't take any add-on products, our suggestion is that you report that dealer to OMVIC. Now, regardless of where you live, your home province or state likely has similar consumer protection measures to deal with attempts at what's called tied selling. That's insisting that a consumer purchase one product in order to buy the other, in this case, the car. Contact information for all Canadian regulators is listed at carzuka.ca. Now, there's a good chance that your first vehicle may be a used vehicle, and this is where your rights regarding full disclosure are incredibly important. The Motor Vehicle Dealers Act also requires that dealers disclose all material facts about the condition of a vehicle to a potential buyer. These facts can include whether the vehicle was used as a previous daily rental, a police vehicle, or a taxi, if it was involved in a significant accident, or if it has a branded title. A branded title means the vehicle suffered significant damage at some point in its history and may have been salvaged and rebuilt. Be sure to ask your salesperson to confirm that there are no material facts that require disclosure before your purchase. And most importantly, ask the dealer to provide you with a vehicle history report. These reports are provided by companies such as Carfax and will tell you a lot about the accident and recorded maintenance history of the vehicle. If the dealer refuses to show you a vehicle history report, that too is a huge red flag. Before we move on, I want to leave you with one of the most important lessons in this entire video. That is, if it's important, get it in writing. What do I mean? If a salesperson promises that a scratch will be repaired, get it in writing. If winter tires are included in the purchase, get it in writing. If an additional key is being provided, get it in writing. If accessories are being installed or a special promotion is included with your vehicle purchase, well, you get the point. A reputable dealership should have no issue documenting commitments that were made during the sales process. So before you sign anything, take a moment to review the paperwork and make sure that every important promise has been documented. Do not take their word for it. Congratulations, you've selected your vehicle, you've negotiated a total vehicle price that works, and now you're headed into the finance office. Take a deep breath. The finance office can be overwhelming for many buyers, but remember, we're setting you up for success now, so all of this is second nature when you get there. The finance manager is the person who will be collecting all the details for your credit application and get you approved for the lease or financing of your vehicle. But he also has a second job. The finance manager is also going to present you with additional products and services that are available for your vehicle purchase. These can include an extended warranty, rust proofing, paint protection, rim and tire protection, and so on. You can find a full list of these items and detailed descriptions at carzuka.ca in the finance office section. Now, some of these products may provide value depending on your situation. The important thing to remember is that none of these products should be purchased because you feel rushed, pressured, or uncomfortable saying no. And here's the biggest takeaway regarding the finance office. Always request the total price of each item that you're considering before you make a decision. Do not allow them to simply present it to you as a monthly payment. Consider this. Just an extra $50 on your monthly payment, which they may even break down to a $25 bi-weekly payment to make it look even better. That amount translates into an extra $3,600 over 6 years. And that's before we even factor in your interest rate. And for each product you're considering, ask what's covered, what's excluded, and how long the coverage lasts. If you're unsure, don't be afraid to decline the product today and revisit the decision later after you've had time to do more research. If you're looking for more details about managing the finance office, including some important pro tips, we've created a separate video on that topic alone. It's linked in the description. It's delivery day. Congratulations. Now's the exciting part. You're finally picking up your new vehicle. But before you get swept up in the excitement, we need to slow down a bit when we arrive at the dealership. Let's start with the paperwork. The contract that you finalize on delivery day has 4 or more pages. Do not simply sign where they tell you to. Instead, use this wording. Can you please walk me through each page of this agreement and point out the key items? You want to see written confirmation of the following. Is the description of the vehicle accurate? Year, make, model, trim, color, and the vehicle identification number. The total price of the vehicle before taxes and license plates. Is it exactly what you agreed to, including any added products? Are the monthly payments, interest rate, and length of your finance or lease term all accurate? If you are leasing, what is the optional buyout amount at the end of your lease term if you want to keep the vehicle? What is the total cost of borrowing, meaning how much interest will you be paying in total? There should be a line on the contract showing that number. If you have any concerns, this is your moment to address them. Now, once the paperwork is signed and your deposit and first payment are paid, this is where the fun begins. It's time to check out your new car. Enjoy that moment. You've put in considerable time and work to get here. Explore every part of the vehicle. Then, run this checklist. Is the vehicle the correct trim level? Does it have all the features and options that you expected? If this is a used vehicle, compare the odometer reading on the car to the paperwork and make sure that it's correct. Next, walk around the vehicle carefully. Look for scratches. Look for dents. Look for damage to the wheels. Check the windshield for chips or cracks. Open and close every door. Open the trunk. Take your time. You don't need to rush just because the salesperson wants to move on to their next appointment. Now let's talk about those promises. Remember what we discussed earlier? If it's important, get it in writing. Well, now's the time to make sure that those promises were actually fulfilled. Winter tires, extra keys, any scratch repairs, is it all taken care of? Get inside the car and pair your phone. For most new car dealers, this is part of the delivery checklist that they must complete for the manufacturer, including signing you up for any cloud-based services. Take a moment to test the backup camera, check the heat and air conditioning, and make sure there are no odd lights on the dashboard. Modern vehicles are packed with technology. Adaptive cruise control, lane keeping systems, remote start, drive modes, and so on. Take advantage of your delivery appointment and learn how everything works. Remember, you've paid for these features. You might as well know how to use them. Once everything checks out, it's time to simply enjoy your new car. If you've made it this far in the video, congratulations. You've already done far more than most new car buyers to educate yourself about the dealership process. If you're interested, you can learn more about each step at carzuka.ca and join our forums to ask a question. We hope that some of the stress we spoke about earlier has now melted away. If so, a like and subscribe would go a long way in helping us reach more first-time car buyers like you. I'm Thomas. This is Carzuka. Thank you so much for coming along for the ride.